I can't believe this. Hi everyone, Coyote Montana here, and there's something you probably might hear. So now we heard of Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry, awesome classics ever since Looney Tunes is from the 30s and Tom and Jerry is from the 40s, of course. So there's something you need to know, and this is going to be my rant about the Tom and Jerry DVDs and the Looney Tunes DVDs. But I'm not include the ones that I'm going to be mentioning until some other time. So I've actually noticed this because during this fall, I've actually saw videos from the people. So I want to give a special shout out to PB Productions, the Flicker 98, and Home of the Good Guys is for doing this. And it might be something you might be wondering about. Well, it's something to do with the Tom and Jerry Spotlight collections and the Chuck Jones collection and the 3 Looney Tunes DVDs. So let me start off with the Tom and Jerry Spotlight collection. So there were actually the new things ever, but there's like problems with that. Let's start off with Volume 1, and it's something to do with the trailer, because I actually saw this trailer of the Tom and Jerry Spotlight Collection Volume 1, and they said something about going back at the way beginning, how it all started. But guess what? I checked out videos of it, and it doesn't have the original episodes of the 40s. It had the different episodes, so it was a lie. So when I checked out Volume 2 of the Spotlight Collection, sorry, itchy beard. When I checked out the Volume 2 of the Spotlight Collection, it has the episodes that are on there, like Puss Gets the Boot and all of that. And then there's Volume 3. Now, there's something I actually heard about the problem with those. Alright, so number 1, the editing. Number 2, fixing everything. And number 3, they never actually edited that one episode on the Spotlight Collection Volume 3. Yeah, I was so excited and thinking about getting it this year along with the other versions of Tom and Jerry, like the Something 17 collection, which is like around the 60s. But I don't think it's happening. Stupid dog. Anyways, so yeah, all of that is not happening because ever since I seen the videos of it. I mean, whose idea was it to like not edit of that episode that's supposed to be unedited, but they've edited it? Whose idea was that in Warner Brothers? Whoever's idea was that needs to be fired for real. I mean, seriously, that's ridiculous. So that's one of the rants about, and now time for the one rant of all. There's something that you might to know, and it's something to do with the Tom and Jerry Chuck Jones collection, since I've watched it before, and also Looney Tunes, Looney Tunes SuperStars DVD. Of course, so I'm going to start off with the Tom and Jerry Chuck Jones collection talk, and I'm glad that the Flicker 98 actually talked about that many, many years ago. So, first off, you might be wondering why is there a problem with this? Well, guess what? Tom and Jerry, the Chuck Jones collection is in widescreen, because when I saw clips of it on YouTube, it was in full screen, and it looks so good in full screen, but it's in widescreen. And how do I know? Well, you see, when the Flicker 98 actually did a video of this, he actually did a comparison. Like an example, when Tom didn't have his fur on and all that. You see, in full screen you can see everything, but in widescreen, his air is cut off and his foot was cut off on both the top and the bottom. It looks so stupid. I mean, seriously, whose idea was it to make a good classic TV show to go in widescreen? That's stupid. I mean, seriously, classic TV shows are in full screen, of course. And now for the talk about the Looney Tunes SuperStars, and it's something to do one with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. So, what I heard from the House of the Good Guys, he actually mentioned that the later shorts on there were widescreen on both Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, but on the back it says standard screen, which is full screen. So, he actually did a comparison of that, and it shows the difference. You can see everything that's cut off on top and the bottom. And BB Production actually mentioned about the Sylvester and Tweety one. That wasn't that good. But he did mention that the Foghorn Leghorn one was actually really, really good. All full screen, no nothing. Just the way it is. I mean, for the Looney Tunes Golden Collection, Volume 1 through 6 DVDs, they're all full screen. Full screen. Fully remastered, uncut, which means they are actually the originals when they originally came on the big screen. And they're all full screen, and they look perfect. I mean, seriously, having widescreen on the Tom and Jerry Touchstones DVD and the two Looney Tunes Superstar DVDs. I mean, seriously, whose idea was that, huh? Whose idea was it? I mean, classic TV shows should not be in widescreen. They should be full screen. And the one thing that belongs in widescreen are movies. Widescreen belongs in movies only because they look better and you can see everything on the left and right, even though everything was cut out on the top and bottom. But yeah, I mean, seriously, no classic TV shows should be in widescreen when they're remastered. They should be full screen. Look at Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon is in full screen and it's remastered. The three Sailor Moon movies are remastered and they're in widescreen, and I'm not bothered by that because that's different. Same thing with The Land Before Time. The original version was in full screen because that was it. That's how it was. But when they remastered it, but now when it's remastered, it looks good in widescreen. I mean, there's another thing. It's something to do with Fraggle Rock. In the very first episode, which is Beginnings, there's something that I actually noticed. You see, when I first watched it, it was in full screen, and you can see Gobo on the bottom on that one scene, when he was mentioning about passing by Junior Gorg. But in the widescreen version that's remastered, you can't see Gobo on the bottom because he's been cut off. I mean, seriously, it's stupid. Look at Garfield and Friends Season 1. A special shout out to the one YouTuber who actually did a comparison with Garfield and Friends between the full screen and the widescreen. You see, in the widescreen, I noticed that a lot was cut on the top and bottom. They should be in full screen when they're remastered, not widescreen. So, for that, I'm actually gonna do a comparison with the movies that are actually full screen and widescreen. Like these two movies here. Disney's Dinosaur and Kermit's Swamp Years. Because on the back, let's start off with this one. On the back, if you actually look closely, right here, you see it has full screen and widescreen on the back. You can definitely see that. Because if you go to the setup and change the aspect ratio, you can see the difference. Say the Kermit's Swamp Years, which is right here. You see that? It's widescreen and full screen presentation. So I'm going to show you a comparison between them so you can see the difference. And you can see how that movies look better in widescreen.
Alright, so here's Disney's Dinosaur. Now let's start off with this scene in full screen. Now, you can actually see things on the top and bottom there, but you can't see anything on the left and right side. Which is this scene here is the one when Pleo and Yar can see the meteor coming down. Now, let's check out the widescreen version, which is this one here. Now, by the looks of this in widescreen, it looks really good, and you can actually see things on the left and right. Also, if you look closely, you can see that Plio's fingers on our right hand are actually cut off, and some of the plants from the top are cut off. But you can see the plants on the left and right side, so it looks really good in widescreen. Now let's check out the next scene. Would be this one here. This, you can see the lemur down there, and this scene is the one when they're running away from the monster cloud. So, like I said, in the full screen version, you can see the lemur on the bottom running away from the monster cloud, and you can see some plants on the top. But you can't see much on the left and right side. So let's check out the full screen. Now let's check out the widescreen version. Would be this here. Now you can see that the lemur is now cut off on the bottom, and more of the plants being cut off up the top. But you can actually see more of the stuff on the left and right, and it looks really good. Now let's check on the next scene, which is this here, the monster cloud scene. Here's the full screen version. Now, if you look at the bottom left, you can actually see more of the island on the bottom left, and if you look closely on the top, you can see some of the dark sky. Now, let's check out the widescreen version, which is this one here. Now, by the looks of this, you can see that parts of the island on the bottom right, the bottom left, are now cut off, of course. And you can see that the dark sky is also cut off too, but you can actually see more of the explosions on the left and right side. Now, let's check out the next scene, which is this one here. The scene when Aladar looked behind because of, the monster cloud and everything. Now, if you look closely on the full screen version, you can see that Aladar's face is cut off. You can only see a bit of his left eye and his mouth. Now, let's check out the widescreen version, which is this here. Now, on the widescreen version here, you can actually see Aladar's face when you look behind. And it looks a lot better too. Now, let's check on the next scene, which is this here. The scene when Suri, Plio, Yar, and Zinni looked up towards Baleen. Now, if you look closely, you can see Suri's right hand on the bottom in full screen. Now, let's take a look at the widescreen version, which is this here. Now, you can't see Suri's hand on the bottom because it's cut off, but you can see things on the left and right side. So when I was watching this in widescreen, I don't actually focus them on anything on the top and bottom. I'm actually more focused on the left and right side when they're widescreen. Now, let's check out Kermit Swamp Years. Now, here is Kermit Swamp Years. Now, let's start off with the full screen version. Now, if you look closely on the full screen version, you can see a bit of the heads of the two frogs on the left side, and you can see a bit of Goggles' face on the right, which is actually a bit cut off. Mostly the part when he's in the bag. But if you actually look really closely to the top and bottom in the full screen version, now this is actually way different than Disney's Dinosaur, but for this full screen version of Kermit Swamp Years, you can see that the top and bottom are cut out, so you can't see much of the light of the UV lights on the top and more of the green stuff on the bottom. Now, let's check out the widescreen version, which would be this one here. Now, you can see Goggles on the right a lot more, and you can see the two frogs on the left. And if you look closely in the widescreen version, you can see the UV light and more on the green stuff on the bottom. So looks like the widescreen version for this movie is actually way different than Disney's Dinosaur, because because for this widescreen version of Kermit Swamp Years, you can see everything on the left and right side and the top and bottom. But like I said, I just only stick with the left and right sides because it's better for me, so I can see everything. So, looks like that's it. Now, I can continue on talking about more of this.
So, that's how you can see the difference between full screen and widescreen on the movies here, of course. Now, you see, they look better in widescreen like that because you can see everything on the left and right side. Even though that things are actually cut on the top and bottom, but I don't actually focus on the top and bottom when I watch movies in widescreen. I'm just more focused on both the left and right side, of course. So yeah, Warner Brothers, you did something that was really stupid. Keep the classic TV shows in full screen from now on. They're better. Yeah. So that was a rant on the Tom and Jerry DVDs and the Looney Tunes DVDs. Mostly which is the SuperStars one, of course. Now, again, I want to give a special shout out to BB Productions, the Flicker 98, and Home of the Good Guys for doing these things. Thank you, guys. You're the best. So I'll put those videos in the link down below so you can see them. So be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like, send some comments, and hit the bell button for brand new videos. And I'll see you next time. Peace out, everyone.